Alrighty, welcome in everybody. Welcome in, welcome in. Um, Welcome to season 2 of the Money Stop. We've got little bit of change to the studio here, but still the same kind of setup, still the same look. We're at a different track now. We moved things over to Talladega Super Speedway, as you can see behind us. Um, really happy to be here. Excited for the season to kick off this weekend officially. I know we got the Clash out of the way a couple Saturdays ago, but really excited to get down to Talladega and get to work. It's been a couple weeks since Texas, so you know a lot has happened since then. So just ready to kick things off again. It'll be a different feeling since I'm not driving this time around, but definitely just ready to see some cars hit the track again. And yeah, so we've got a packed show tonight. We've got a couple things to talk about. We're going to discuss the clash at Chicago a couple weeks ago, and we're going to just talk about some expectations for the season coming up. And what we expect to see during the big race this weekend. As we all know, it is the biggest race of the season, arguably, and we are expecting to see some big names, maybe potentially win the race. But first, before anything, I'd like to welcome in my co-host and good friend Laner. Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you. It's been a while, hasn't it?
It has been a while. How was it in Phoenix?
That was that was awesome. I'm definitely glad that we ended up going to that. So yeah, that was a once in a lifetime experience.
Yeah, and I know you were telling me that it was kind of it wasn't planned from the beginning of the year. Um, it, like you said, it was kind of last minute. So um, I'm glad you at least made the trip over there. I'm sure it was a long drive for you guys there and back. But did you guys spend the whole weekend, or did you just go for Sunday?
No, we literally just went for Sunday. It was
Okay.
it was a lot of driving. I'm definitely gonna fly if I ever do that again. But yeah, on the way back or like on the way there, I was like, yeah, if Joey doesn't win this, I'm really just gonna be so upset because I was so much driving. It was
Yeah.
worth it in the end, but like if Byron or Reddick would have won, even Blaney, but I mean, I would have been okay with that. But still, like that's a lot of driving to see somebody else win.
To be honest, I thought Blaney was going to get him at the end. I
I
was
did too.
I was pulling for Blaney, just because everybody in my household are Blaney fans. But I thought honestly he was going to get him because of just how
Oh
close,
yeah,
how
he was
fast he
so
closed the gap.
fast. Like in person, you could. He was so fast. I was so nervous. He was flying.
Yeah,
But I mean, once he got there, he just stalled out. Like I don't know. I don't really know what happened, but I feel like if it wasn't his teammate, he would have got by him, no doubt.
I think
Because
I
I
think
feel like he
Joey did
was,
a good job with holding him off too.
yeah, he definitely did. But I also feel like Blaney could have pushed the issue a little bit more if he had wanted to.
Oh yeah, for sure, for
So
sure. Yeah, and for Martin, it almost went how every race before this past weekend has gone. You start off strong, and then they just fade as the day goes on. Um,
yeah,
but
he was racing around Joey most of the first half of the race. We started off on the pole, obviously, and then he was inside the top 10, and then I don't even know what happened to him. He just fell off.
yeah, it seemed like the story of their team for the last maybe half of the season. Um,
Yeah.
really, like I think Gateway was the breaking point for that team when they had the flat tire. From there, it was just they had abysmal finishes. And they had speed, but they just couldn't execute on finishes, and they couldn't be in contention for wins in the end, which sucked because he still had it right up to the end. You know, winning the pole I think was a statement in his final race, but nothing to show for it. What did he finish like 17th? Nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
So
Well,
um,
it's sad because you can tell that if he was, I don't know, like if he was in the right mindset, he could still win a championship next year. Like,
yeah,
he's not that far off. I mean, I guess you got to respect his decision, but at the same time, you almost wish he would give it a few more years. So it's definitely bittersweet to see him go.
yeah, it is, and I'm glad he was able to leave on his own terms. Like he wasn't forced out or anything, and
Yeah, for
he
sure.
was he was happy when he left. So um, I live near his hometown, so I'm sure I'll be seeing him around town a lot, and we'll be happy to have him back home. But sorry, I had to get a sip of my water. But let's move into some stuff we're going to talk about because we have some stuff to catch up on, and we're kind of getting off track already. But um, how has the off season been for you so far, besides Phoenix?
It's been pretty good. Just watching a lot of real NASCAR, college football. Um, Nothing too crazy. I guess we were working on the new game for a little bit, but obviously we decided to come back to the old games. So here we are, about to start off season 7, I think it is now.
Which
So
is it's crazy to believe to me that
yeah,
we're
it's
in season 7.
yeah, we've been doing this for a few years now.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's a reflecting point. I think it makes you think back on kind of just the past couple seasons and how far this league has come. Um, Not a lot of leagues go that far, I would say. Um, you could argue like some of the bigger leagues have gone on a while, but um, you know, a lot of the smaller leagues don't really make it that far. So I think just as a moment of reflection, kind of for how far this league has come, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're definitely really proud of what we've done with this league, and we have some really good people in this league. So that have stuck around and done a lot of good things for the league, yourself included.
Yeah,
And people like Land and Craigus, and I know I can't name everybody up the top of my head, but we've had a lot of really good people come through here and stick around and really put in a lot of hard work and effort. So um, it wouldn't be possible without everybody, but I'm definitely glad to see where things have gone.
yeah, for sure. I know for me at least, I've been very busy in my off time. For anybody who doesn't know, I'm a college student, so um, this is not my full time kind of thing that I like to do on the side. I've been very busy with classes and trying to wrap up the semester. It's been a very very chaotic semester so far, and trying to make it to the end. Trying to push only a couple weeks left. So, but I'm glad that the season is starting up again. It'll give me something to do on Saturdays, and um, certainly looking forward to being more closer to SSR and developing their program and um, making us consistently competitive every week. I'm definitely looking forward to the new challenge this season. Gonna feel weird not driving, but I plan on doing some starts, but nothing too crazy. Um, all right. Well, let's move on to the clash. Um, so 2 weeks ago, the clash was held in Chicago at the Chicago Street Course, and let me just pull it up for a second. Let me see. Was there ever a winner announced? I can't remember who won the race, but
Fabio, if I'm saying his name correctly.
Claudio. Okay. All right. Well, from what I gathered, though, I'm not sure if there was ever an announcement put out, but from what I gathered, a lot of people did not enjoy the racing, just because maybe these cars are not built for that course in particular. But I think it was an interesting choice. I think to go there for the Clash. Um, I personally, when I was watching the race, I did not think people would make 30 laps out of that. But I mean, they somehow got the race done. And I think it was just very interesting how some of the strategies played out, and how some of the people approached the course. I think everybody raced with a different approach to the course, which was interesting to see. But things got very stretched out very quickly, and we saw that on every restart, on the initial start, um, really just all race long, things were kind of stretched out. But a lot of people were making mistakes consistently, and that was another thing that I saw too. So maybe not the wisest choice to pick this street course for the Clash. But Laner, what are some of your thoughts on the race that we saw a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, I mean, we had like two drivers, I guess, that were really competitive. Well, I'd say three. I think Wendigo was pretty competitive. I don't know what really happened with him, but he had a lot of speed. But Jax and Fadio were fighting it out for the win at the end, and everybody else was just kind of running their own race. Um, so yeah, it in hindsight, it wasn't really a great choice for the Clash. I think next season we would probably not do it at a street course. Probably do it at a short track or something like that. Where everybody at least has a chance to run competitively. But I don't know. All things considered, we had a really good finish, and it was okay, I guess. I mean, it wasn't awful, but yeah, I wouldn't personally ever want to see it return for the Clash.
Were there any other tracks in consideration in replacement of that?
Well, there was a point during the race whenever I think we were considering switching tracks, but I don't really know where we would have switched because it would have been such last second. So I don't know. If we hadn't done it at Chicago, I wanted to do it at Bowman Gray personally. I think
Okay.
that we're probably going to end up doing the All Star race there. Hopefully, like a bigger version of it, not as small as uh, the Coliseum that we were in a few years ago. Maybe like a
Mhm.
little bit of a bigger version. So I think that might be a little bit fun for the All Star race.
I don't know how I feel about that, but uh, I'll let you guys handle the planning in that because honestly, that sounds terrifying. Putting ROCAR stock cars on a
Bowman
quarter
Gray.
mile, yeah, um, does not sound fun at all. So, I think I'm definitely going to sit that one out. But to anybody who wants to run in that race, Godspeed, have fun.
Good
Um,
for you.
yeah, really. Might have to make the track a little bigger, actually, kind of like they do it
Yeah.
in NASCAR game. They have a version in that game, and it's not nearly as small, I think, as the actual Bowman Gray. It's actually quite big. So,
Yeah, I think
um,
that's kind of our hope.
yeah, maybe just developing or finding a version that's close to that. Um, but yeah, I think a lot of people maybe gained some experience from the Chicago Street Course, in terms of just practicing their road course skills with this car. Because I think, most of the time we run full throttle with this car, so it's kind of hard to tell, what tracks you need to brake at, what tracks you need to, use partial throttle, all that stuff. But the road courses are a completely different beast. So I think that hopefully a lot of people that aren't as experienced with our road courses, gained some experience from that. At
Yeah.
least that's my hope. Um, because there's a couple of road courses this season, and we'll get into the schedule in a little bit, but there is a couple on there that I would be a little worried about, if you're not too um, kind of ready for it. um, we've got Monza
Yeah.
and Coda, but
And we got that next week. So
yeah,
that's,
so
yeah. I mean, everyone will be on the same page there, I guess. It's a brand new track for everybody. So um,
yeah,
I don't really know that experience will mean a whole lot, but that'll be interesting.
and yeah, I think it'll be very interesting to see just how everything plays out with Monza because um, to be honest, not really sure what we're gonna see. I don't know what anybody will see. Just the fact that it is a new track. We are not really sure what we're in for, and we could see a shock winner at any point in that race. Um, but I think in terms of the clash, let's talk about the winner for a second, Flavio. So I think from watching the race, I think he did a great job, and I want to give him a little shout out. He is a fairly new driver to our community, but he did a great job in Chicago and definitely went out and earned the win. Made a couple mistakes, but nothing to the point where it cost him the win or anything. But definitely a great job by that driver, and looking forward to seeing what they can pull off this season.
Yeah, that's really, I don't, I think it's a pretty big statement for them to come out in their first career start, ever using these cars and to win a race, especially at a really difficult course like Chicago. I
Hmm.
mean, you had veterans like myself and Lego, Land. I would even put Land in this category. Even Craigus, because Craigus didn't even advance to the main event. Like, we were struggling. And
Hmm.
I mean, Land's a 3-time champion. I've been to many Final Fours myself. Craigus has been to Final Fours. Like, we've been in this league for a long time, and we struggled at that course. And his first career start, he goes out there and wins the race. So I'm really impressed by that a lot. I don't know if that'll translate to the intermediates or the super speedways where the veterans seem to shine more, but I'm still really impressed with that.
Yeah, same here. It was a very different perspective watching it from the stream, but just seeing how his approach to the track was and how kind of calm he was and his like he was very consistent. I think he could be a threat this season, if he does show that same speed and same consistency at the intermediates and the other short tracks and super speedways and stuff. Um,
Yeah, for me, I just want to see how he races like when it's not spread out and it's a pack race,
mhm.
because that's whenever the veterans are going to shine. Like, you get into a ROCAR race, and how are you going to react when somebody bumps you out of the way for a position, or how are you going to react when you're second with 3 laps to go? Like things like that. Whenever you're racing close to other cars, that's really what determines if you're going to be successful in this league or not.
Yep, I agree. Um, let's see. What do we have next on the chopping block here? Um, so what are we? I'm gonna shift topics. What are we gonna watch for this season? And what are you looking forward to seeing?
Um, I don't know if we should expect much anything different than last season. I mean, the new playoff format will be interesting, and maybe people take a different approach to the regular season because of that. I mean, I'm sure we'll get into that with the schedule, but you only have 8 races in the regular season. Um, and with the new format, the regular season champions automatically locked into the championship. So um, I would hope and assume that people are going to want to position themselves better in the regular season because it's going to mean a lot more now.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, only 8 weeks. Like 8 weeks from right now, we're already going to be in the playoffs. So it's a pretty short season. I think people are going to be really aggressive because we had a long season last year and people really got aggressive towards the end. So only 8 weeks until the playoffs. I think intensity is going to be at an all-time high starting this weekend.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing was last season that since there was a longer uh, um, regular season, that people kind of laid off in the beginning with being aggressive and trying to go for wins. And that's kind of why I think we saw a mixed bag of winners in the beginning. Um, and this season, though, is going to be a complete 180 of that, I think. Like you said, a lot shorter of a time to go out for wins, a lot shorter of a time to be consistent and earning points. Um, it's going to be crunch time right from the get go. There's really no time to play games and to play around. Um, people are going to really have to put their foot down if they want to go for wins. And you know, I don't know what we'll see in terms of aggression this season. It could be the same as last season. It could be anything less. It could be more. Um, but it will certainly be interesting to see just how far people will be willing to go for a win. Um, and I think another thing that's interesting to note too is that uh, we could see a lot more surprises this season. I think, like, yes, we are still under the same game, but we have some new players. Um, I have some new players, and there's going to be some new tracks. In the regular season, in the regular season and the playoffs. But we're in for you know a madhouse kind of like we don't know what to really expect. If we thought last season was bad or much of a surprise, then you know I think this season is going to be 10 times that.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, we got a lot of new. Well, we really only have like one new venue, but you know, um, a lot of these drivers are new as well. So I don't. It'll be really, really interesting. I mean, we're going to Monza next week, so everybody better buckle up.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm a little nervous for that race because of how big that track is, and like I said, I don't know putting uh, road car cup cars on that track is gonna be a good idea, but we'll see.
Yeah, we might have to have some options in our back pocket just to be safe.
Yeah, that might be the way to go.
Might be going to Watkins Glen. You never know.
Imagine that. Imagine that.
I really hope not, but
Yeah,
you never know.
yeah, it'll be interesting. Um, okay. I think another thing to watch for too, just throwing it out there, kind of, is how much different the vibes will feel this season. I think last season was just a little chaotic with it was trying to race and control the league at the same time from falling apart, kind of. So I think this season, hopefully, it'll be much more relaxed, and people will be a little easier on each other in terms of off track behavior. Um, there was a lot of bickering and a lot of unnecessary kind of like arguments and stuff that went on last season. So hopefully we don't see that again. Um, but I mean, like I said, could go any way, could really lean any way, and that's the beauty of the start of the season is you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I feel like no matter what you do in this league, you're always going to have people upset with you. So I'm sure there will be a lot of arguing and bickering at different points in the season, but um, you've just kind of come to expect that after however long we've had this league. So just
hmm
got to keep rolling through it.
what I just realized? This is a random thought, very random and very off topic. Land has more championships now than Kyle Busch. Just
It's
just
quite
a
the
random thought.
accomplishment.
I know. Land has more championships than Kyle Busch. That's crazy. Um, but sorry, we're getting off topic now. But yeah, I think at least for you, you should probably not try and rage out of the playoffs this year. I think that would be a good a good option for you to make as a
Well,
driver.
Las Vegas isn't in the playoffs, so I think we're good.
Yeah, yeah, that's a safeguard. Hmm, let's see. All right. Well, clearly we're gearing up for an exciting season. Um, let's take a look at the schedule. So, as Laner mentioned, we are heading to Monza next week. But before we head to Monza, we are going to be here in Talladega this weekend. And I'll pull up the full schedule right now for your viewing. So, the schedule is as follows, and I will read off of it. We already took care of Chicago. We're heading to Talladega this weekend, and then we are heading to Monza next weekend. It says uh, Coda there, but Coda has moved to the playoffs. So we will get into that in a second and all of the playoffs discussion with that. But Monza is week 2, and then we're heading to Auto Club in week 3, then heading back to Florida for Walt Disney World Speedway in week 4, heading to Darlington for the seasonal throwback race in week 6 or week 5, sorry, and then heading to Kentucky in week 6. That should be interesting, knowing how the last Kentucky race went. And then heading to the Milwaukee Mile in week 7. Always a good time in Milwaukee. Week 8 is Texas, no comment. Week 9 is Monza, or week 9 is, I guess, kind of up in the air. I'm not sure what's going to be there.
That is so. The playoffs will be instead of Monza or Coda. That'll be Charlotte.
Okay.
Then we will go to Coda, then Daytona, and then the last 3 will stay the same. So Texas will be the cutoff race now.
Okay. So Texas is the cutoff, and then uh, Charlotte, Coda, and Daytona, and everything from there is the same.
Yes.
Okay. Well, okay. Well, let me finish the schedule, and then when we get to the playoffs, we'll head to Pocono, Martinstown, and Chicagoland will be the final race of the season. Um, so what do we like? What do we don't like here? I would say a very interesting choice for a schedule this season. There are a lot of wild cards in here, um, but I like the choices going from a super speedway to a road course and then to basically another super speedway to an intermediate. Um, what were your guys' thoughts putting this schedule together this season?
Well, it's really hard to put these schedules together because we really have so many deserving tracks.
Mm,
Um, you just start throwing tracks out there and try to make them fit together, and uh, I don't know, it's difficult. And then we made this format change, and that it kind of switched things even more. Um, Once we made that format change, we decided Monza was not going to be in the playoffs because it's a brand new track. Um, so we decided to put Coda there because we've raced at Coda for a few years now, so we kind of know what to expect from that. So we figured it was a safe bet to put Monza in week 2, where if it ends up being a shitty race, at least it's not a playoff race. We feel more confident with Coda being in the playoffs. So, and with Daytona being a playoff cutoff race, yeah, I don't know. I'm, you know, I don't know how to feel about that, but it's happening. And then Martinstown, yeah, it's gonna be a yeah, interesting playoffs.
well, Daytona is what we traditionally go to, I feel like, for the cutoff, right?
Yeah, but that's only like the regular season cutoff.
Yeah. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I don't know. Um,
But I mean, at this point in ROCAR, like every single track is Daytona basically, so you're really not, you know,
yeah, that's
like all
true.
of our tracks are kind of the same. So it's not like NASCAR putting Daytona as a round of 8 cutoff race, which I wouldn't be surprised if they did that, but
Yeah. Out of this list though, and you can pick maybe one regular season race and one playoff race. What are you most looking forward to?
well, in the regular season, for me personally, I'm excited to get back to Milwaukee after our race there last season. I feel like we performed really strongly there, and I think that's a race that our team has circled. I'm excited for Texas to be the cutoff race. I really do think that track is underrated, and I think that'll be a great cutoff race. And for the playoffs, I'm also excited for Monza. Sorry, I totally forgot about that. For the playoffs, I'm really excited to get back to Martinstown.
Okay, some good thoughts. Yeah, I think I have. I'm pretty sure I would have. I think either Kentucky or Walt Disney circled, just because I think with Kentucky, the first like we need a second go. I think just to be sure if it's the track or if it's us that we just can't race there. But I'm excited to get back there just because it was a fun track to race on. And with Walt Disney, I did miss the race, but after seeing some stuff on the stream, it looked fun.
Yeah,
And it looked like a challenge, just approaching the track, and it looked like a handful kind of for some drivers, but it looked a lot of fun. Those two tracks, so I would say I'm in between those. And as for a playoff track, I think I'm most excited for Pocono. Pocono is a beast, like in Rocar. I think the turns 2 and 3 are brutal. It's very hard coming out of that unscathed. But um, yeah, I'm excited to see how Pocono is going to play out, and I think overall it's a solid schedule. I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out. Um, any races you're not looking forward to?
um, not really. I mean, we have a pretty good schedule. I feel like, um, yeah, I'm looking forward to all of them, honestly.
Well, hopefully That's the consensus among everybody watching. It is a pretty good schedule. So great job to everybody that put it together. All right, let's move on now. Um, so let's talk a little bit about the playoff layout for this season. Um, so originally, it was going to be the same layout as we've done the past several seasons, where it's, kind of a win you're in format. There is however many rounds, 3 races, and then there's a separate championship race, which 4 drivers race it out for a championship. Now there's going to be a new format kind of implemented for this season. So a statement was put out by you the other day, and I will put it up on the screen for people to read, even though probably everybody has already seen it. So it says, after discussing our current playoff format, me and Icy have come to a decision about a new playoff format we will be implementing starting this season. There will be 2 rounds in the playoffs, the round of 6 and the championship round. The championship round will now consist of 3 races. The driver with the most points of the championship 4 after these 3 races will be declared the champion. Just a note, every championship driver will start the round with 0 points. Another thing to note with this change, the regular season champion will automatically be locked into the championship round and have a bye in the first round. Since this change will be altering the schedule a little bit, the new playoff schedule, as it appears on your screen, it is Charlotte, Coda, moved from week 2, and then Daytona, and then the championship round, as we said a couple moments ago, is Pocono, Martinstown, and Chicagoland. So ultimately, there is 6 drivers fighting for 4 spots, and then those four drivers fight it out for a title in those last 3 races. Whoever accumulates the most points is from what I'm grasping, if that's right, Laner.
Yeah, well, I guess basically it's 5 drivers fighting for 3 spots because the 6th driver will already be locked in, the regular season champion. So,
Right.
um, but yeah, 5 drivers, 3 spots, 3 races. So, um, same gist, I guess.
What sparked the change, do you think? What motivated you and Icy to make this change?
Well, after everybody started complaining about the real life format, we kind of started talking, and we were talking about like a three race final round, um, and we kind of just thought that might be beneficial to do in ROCAR, and I don't know, we just thought that was a good idea, and I'm personally looking forward to it, and I think that this format will crown the most deserving champion because you're not putting everything into one race. Like if you go to the championship and you get wrecked or you have a bad day, then you're done. You have to wait until next season to have another shot at it. With 3 races, if you have a bad race, you still have 2 more races to rebound and position yourself for a championship. Um, I mean, realistically, to put yourself in a good position, you're going to need to win one of those final 3 races. But at least you have 3 chances to do that. So I don't know. I To the people who don't like this format, my response is Land has won the past 2 championships. And this is not a knock against Land, but you would think other people would want a chance at a championship, right? Well, if we keep the old format, that's probably not going to happen. Land's going to keep kicking all of our asses. I'm just being honest with you because Land
Or
is a great
or
driver.
or it's going to be somebody else kicking everybody's
Or
asses.
yeah, exactly. But it's like if you want a chance at a championship, this format will produce that. And it's in your hands. I know people are saying that they don't like it because you get wrecked out for stage points or whatever. But that happens every single week. You cannot guarantee stage points any point in the season. It doesn't matter if it's week 1 or week 10, that's just how ROCAR is. So making it 1 race or 3 races isn't going to matter. at the end of the day, like you just have to position yourself the best you can and hope that things fall into place. I, you know, I don't know. Like, I don't know. It that aggravates me because you can't say that it's easy to get wrecked out for stage points because it's always been like that, you know? But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like there's still people who get stage points every week, like Land or I don't Land's the only one I can think of, but like obviously there's some drivers that are really good at doing that. So there's got to be a way for people to still collect stage points. You just I don't know, maybe don't drive so aggressive. Be smart with your car. I don't know. Um, I hate to get so aggravated about it, but I feel like this format is honestly what's best for the league, and that's a big reason why me and Icy didn't budge whenever we saw the criticism. This is what we feel like is right, and we're gonna keep it.
Yeah, and you guys are totally right. I'm not going to say that the format that we're using right now is broken. I know that it probably stemmed from in real life too. Um, but I applaud you guys at least for trying something different and breaking outside of the box to try a new format. I think people should be a little more open minded about something like this because you criticize it before you even know if it'll benefit you or not.
Exactly.
And you could be the champion when we hit Chicagoland, but you will never know that until you reach that point. And I think just everybody in general, like even when we did the test and some people were complaining about the cars, I got a little aggravated about that, and I don't mean to get off topic here, because you guys are trying something different, and I think people need to understand that the car is not going to be the same. Um, you know, Past this season, next season, whenever you guys publish that new game and we make the transition over, I think people need to go in with an open mind to that too, because you can't expect us to race the same cars you know as we've been racing for the last 7 seasons. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
and you guys made it abundantly clear too that it was it was a WIP. So the game wasn't fully done. Um, it wasn't fully, you know, ready to be published yet. Um, and I think like even in that circumstance, I think people just need to go in with an open mind and be open to change, because if you stay in the same cycle, you'll never break out of it. And the same goes for this playoff format. I don't, like I said, I don't think it's entirely broken, but I think I'm open to a change. If it benefits different people, or if it will bring new interest in, or if it really sparks some kind of motivation in people to go out there and drive for a championship, I'm all ears. Um, but I
Yeah,
I
and
definitely agree with you.
like at the end of the day, um, as race car drivers, you have to go out there and control what you can control. And um, we can complain about stage points, we can complain about getting wrecked out for the win or whatever. But at the end of the day, you just got to go out there and perform. And if you go out there and perform over the final 3 weeks, you'll be the champion. Um, so I don't know. It's um, like I said earlier, we've had this league long enough. I know no matter what we do, somebody will be upset. So I take all of this stuff with a grain of salt. I just know how things go in this league, which is fine. But I really do think that this change will be good for the league, and I think that people will enjoy it more than they think they will. So after I really do like I think it'll be successful, and I think that once we get to the playoffs that a lot of people will change their minds about it. And if I'm wrong, then we'll go back to the old format. It's just we're just trying new things. So if it doesn't work, at least we tried it.
Yeah, and that's all you can really do. I know like it came out today or yesterday that NASCAR is going to be looking at the playoff format over the offseason, to see if they can change anything. Um, and there were talks about moving the regular season champion into a higher position on the ladder when it goes down from 16 to 12 to 8. Um, but even changes like that, it could benefit somebody different. There just needs to be some sort of change, at after a certain point, because if you stick with the same shit, it ain't gonna work. Um, I, I- you know, um, I think that's just the
Yeah.
simplest way to put it. If you want
No,
to stick with that format, by all means, go ahead. But if you're in the back constantly, all race long and not earning stage points and complaining about it, and then we're offering a change, don't complain.
yeah, and like at the end of the day, Land might still go out there and win the championship. Like this change isn't meant to, I talk a lot about Land kicking everyone's ass. I'm not saying we're making this change to prevent Land from winning a championship, but like I'm just saying this opens up opportunities for everybody. Um, and my point in saying that was that Land has been so dominant in this format, so I would think that more people would be open to a change. So I don't know. It's very possible Land would still go out and win the championship. Right now, he would probably be my pick to do so, regardless of the format, because he's just a great driver. So we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, I agree. And I was just scrolling on Twitter a minute ago. Apparently, Larry McReynolds and Denny Hamlin are beefing on Twitter. Because Larry responded to a tweet that was put out by Dirty Mo Media, um, which had Denny Hamlin's take on changing the playoff format. And he proposed double current regular season points. In the playoffs, the first round is the top 16 drivers, 7 races, and the top 4 advance points for the top 4 go to 0. Then the championship, the points leader after 3 races wins the championship. And he responded with just a bunch of bogus, and Denny responded to him and told him to stop spreading disinformation on his show about the lawsuit that they have going on right now.
Does
So it seems
not
like the
too
playoffs is causing a lot of a lot of stuff here and a lot of stuff outside of here.
Yeah, and I will say it's a lot easier for us to make playoff changes here. I'm not. I really think NASCAR is kind of backed into a corner in real life,
Hmm.
because they already have like contractual obligations with tracks and everything. And I don't really think you could do anything too drastic in the span of like 4 months.
Yeah,
Like I don't think they could expand the playoffs to make the final round 3 races for next season. That might be something they could do for like 2026, but you know, there's no way they could do that for 2025, in my opinion. Like I don't think that, I don't know how that would shake out. I feel like that's something that would have to be like under contract, or I don't know. I'm just talking out the side of my mouth, but I don't think whatever happens with NASCAR, I don't think it's going to be drastic. I think it might be like minor little tweaks.
yeah, I agree. I think if we see an overhaul, it'll be in 26. I don't think it'll be
I
anywhere
agree.
near next year.
But to give them, I don't. I'm a Joey fan, so I'm biased. But most of the time, you have at least a somewhat deserving champion with this format.
Hmm.
Joey this year was like the first time. I guess Blaney last year too, but like the past 2 years have kind of been like, all right,
Hmm.
they're kind of cheating the system. So, but normally the champion is pretty deserving with this format. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. It'll come down to that last race. Who can accumulate the most points.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on for the sake of time here. Um, so some exciting stuff to look forward to. Let's move on to one of the more entertaining parts of the segment, or one of the more entertaining segments of the show. We're gonna do some predictions. I did not write any predictions down, but I have a couple in my head. Um, just some very early season predictions. Did you want to start? Because I think I started last season, but I don't know. I was watching some
Just
of
like
our old episodes the other
predictions for
day.
the whole season, or
Just some maybe bold takes that you think.
uh, well, I don't know if this is really a bold take, but I think Fadio will make the playoffs. Um, I don't know who I have getting eliminated at the moment. Um, Maybe ask me in like week 4,
Okay.
but um, yeah, I think he'll make the playoffs because I seriously think he'll contend for the win at Monza.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. I don't want to name names, but there's a few drivers from last season that had really bad overall performances in the season. Um, and they're going to have to pick it up if they want to be in the playoffs. Because, I mean, you talk about only having 6 playoff spots. Yeah, 8 weeks to do it. You're going to have to put up your A game.
Yeah.
And I could even see like one of the favorites, like me or Craigus or Land or um, Wendigo or Jax. Like I think there will be a surprise person that does not make the playoffs. Just because 8 weeks is just such a small sample size that if you have a bad stretch of races and you don't win a race, you could easily be out of the playoffs.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's a great way to look at it. Um, all right, are you ready for my hot take? Because
Ready?
this, I don't know. I have a feeling. We talk about how Land is now a three-time champion. Something feels different about this season. Um, I don't think he's going to win the championship, and I don't think that he is going to make it into the final four. Just
Okay.
I don't know. Something feels weird. I know he's been busy outside of this whole thing too. I know he's been busy outside of the league, but I think there are some heavy hitters this season. That have potential to have a breakout season. Um, Fadio is fast. When Wendigo is going to be fast. I expect Lego to be picking up the pace. I expect you to be up there. I expect GFM to be fast. But there is some tracks on the schedule this season that I'm not so sure that I am confident with the team right now. Um, I kind of made the case before with Craigus last season. We were very down on Craigus last season, and he had a breakout. Um, but I think that there will definitely be other breakout drivers this season, and I'm a little worried that if they have a big season, like if they rack up a couple wins, he could be left out on the outside of that. So it'll be interesting to see. And this is another thing too. If drivers like me or drivers like Icy that are part time come in and win the race, that's one less opportunity for drivers to win a race in the short regular season. You know what I mean? So I think somebody is going to be left out, and I think it'll be Land. I think he'll make the playoffs. I just don't have him in my final four, and I don't have him winning the championship.
All right, and that is quite the take.
It
I
is, but
um
it is. But here's the one other thing too. It's like At some point, there's always going to be a turning point. He's been the dominant car the last several seasons. Maybe since the beginning, arguably, he's been the hottest driver. And I think at some point that is going to change, whether he retires or not. Um, and I don't know if this season is that point, but I think it's on the horizon if it's not.
I I think Land could very realistically win the regular season championship, and at that point he would automatically lock into the Final Four. I mean, he's won the regular season championship like what, the past 3 seasons, at least the past two. I know that. Um, so yeah, I don't. I mean, with only 8 weeks, me and Land were in a pretty close battle for it last season, till he
Mhm.
finally pulled away. So, I mean, it's definitely possible, but I'm not personally going to. I'm not going to join the hype train of Land missing the playoffs. Um, just because well, not the playoffs, the Final Four. I fully expect him to be in the championship round.
Okay, and that's your opinion. Uh, if I'm wrong, feel free to call me out, but it's just I'll call that a Kyle Petty opinion.
Well, also, Coda is in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
If for some reason Land does not win the regular season championship, he's going to be fast at Coda. But I will say, Wendigo, Fadio, and Jax will also be really fast. Like, for a while, Land was like the road course ringer, and he still is one. But we have a lot of new guys coming in that are equally as talented at road courses.
Mhm.
Jax and Fadio and Wendigo are all going to be fast at Coda too. So I think Land will have to work for that Coda win a lot more than he normally does.
Yeah, I agree.
But he will
Um,
be really fast there. So
Another thing to mention too is like the regular season. It's a very, very wide range of tracks. And there is a lot of parity that could take place in those 7 or 8 weeks um, leading up to the first round of the playoffs. So I think I'm going to be watching for just how much of that parity plays out. Um, tracks like Milwaukee, tracks like Kentucky, tracks like Walt Disney, Monza, kind of more of the wild cards that we really haven't gotten the chance to see what it is capable of. And I think are we going to have a bigger field this season?
uh
Or are
we're
we like
capping
right
it
on
at
kind of par of where we've been
yeah,
at?
it's about the same. It's about the same.
Okay.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think we'll have full fields every week, but
Hopefully. Hopefully that's the case. Um, I think you left the game, by the way.
oh no.
Yeah, if you want to join back. I think another thing is too, like Land just has to be um on point with pit stops and executing strategy, and he can't get taken advantage of. Um, but time will tell if that team is going to be back in victory lane, back in championship form. Um, we will see. They're coming right off of a championship, um, so it'll be very interesting to watch. Do you have any other predictions? Any other things you want to mention?
Um, Not that I can really think of off the top of my head. I think this season's going to be really unpredictable. And I think there's really no way to predict it. I think it's going to be. I could see a lot of drivers making a case for the Final Four. I think Jax will have a breakout year. I think Fadio is going to be fast. Wendigo is going to be extremely fast. I mean, last year was only his rookie year.
Mhm.
and he made the Final Four. He's only going to build on that. So Lego will be a lot more improved, I would assume. So it's going to be a really stacked field, and you don't really have that many races to figure it out. So we start racing this weekend. It's going to be, really interesting.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, let's move into this weekend. So, as we know, it is the big weekend, the biggest weekend of the season. It is the ROCAR 500. Um, I'm going to go over just some general information ahead of the race because we've got some stuff before that we've got to take care of with the duels and setting the actual lineup, and got the truck race also. So a lot of stuff to really digest before we get to Saturday. But go through the weekend schedule, and we'll break into it in a second. But Friday is going to be when all the action kicks off. At 6:30 Eastern Standard Time is going to be the duels. The clash finishing order is what determined the starting order. So those who did not qualify for the main event of the clash will start in the back. And that was Laner. So, right, you didn't qualify in, or did you?
I'm sorry, I totally spaced out.
It's all right.
But
Did you make the clash or no? I can't remember if you did.
okay, so yes, I made it to the main event. Regis didn't advance to the main event. Trying to think of anybody. Icy didn't make it to the main event. Um, Wagner didn't make it to the main event. Um, there were a few others. I can't really think of who all was in there, but yeah, it was me, Fadio, Jax, Land, Wendigo. Who else? Bip, and there was one other person.
And
Lego.
Lego, yeah. Um, all right, so we're gonna have a pretty packed field for the duel, um, basically. Um, and then, so the finishing order, or the starting order for at least right now, in first is Fadio, second is Jax, third is Land, fourth is Lego, fifth is Bip, sixth is Wendigo, and seventh is Laner. And then the rest of the field will follow with that, just whatever um, the non qualifiers of the clash, they'll line up behind Laner. But after the duels will be the truck race, and that is 50 laps. Stages are 15, 15, and 20. Probably give or take, maybe like 7:30. I would guess maybe closer to 8 o'clock. Maybe not even. Um, Depends on how long it'll take to get the duel race done, considering how many cars will be in the duel. But after the truck race on Friday, everything on Saturday will kick off at 7 o'clock. The ROCAR 500 is 75 laps. Stages are 20, 20, and 35. The finishing results of the duel will set the order of the 500. So keep that in mind as you watch this weekend. And should be very exciting to watch along. One thing I'll be watching for sure is the strategy. I know that, maybe some teams will be working with other manufacturers or other teams. Um, I will not kind of disclose any of our strategy for sure, but just we're kind of, I guess, we're ready for the weekend. But just kind of looking forward to getting out there and practicing and seeing what kind of speed the cars have.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think the dual race will be a full field as well. Um, and I think that might kind of give us an idea of what to expect. I'm not sure if it has been announced publicly, but we will be using the new version of Talladega for this race, the one with smooth transition. So I'm excited to see how that plays out. I'm hoping that it's a better racing product than the older version that we typically use, um, just because those ramps on the entrance and exit of the corners was kind of rough at times. So yeah, I think it'll be a good weekend, and obviously this is a race that everybody wants to win, so there will be a lot of intensity throughout the field.
Yeah, I agree. Um, you got one more spot open? No, I'm just kidding. I mean, if you got one more
Uh,
spot open, maybe I'll try and make the race. But no, I think for this weekend, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how everything plays out. It's going to be a bigger field, and like you said, it'll be a newer version of the track. So, uh, and if I remember correctly, didn't we use that in what season two?
we used it in Row Muscle Season 1,
Okay,
the,
all right,
the new version.
okay. I don't know why I was thinking of season two. I was trying. I think that was the season that CD won. I'm not sure though.
Uh, oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. We did use it then as well, but that was with the different cars. CD
Yeah,
did win that race, yes. So we've used it twice.
yeah.
And then I won the one in Row Muscle Season 1 because everybody blew their tires coming to the line.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was like I was leading the race off of turn 4 Craigus, and everybody passed me, and then they go around me coming to the checkered flag, and everybody just starts popping tires, and somehow I passed by them all and won the race.
Hmm.
And then I popped my tires as soon as I passed the start finish line. So that's a race I really wish we had on video because that was really crazy.
Yeah, and I don't think I was there for that race, was I?
No, you weren't there.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I don't remember any of that shit. So,
That's whenever I drove for GFM.
oh yes, those were the glory days for you, huh?
Back in my heyday.
uh, um. All right. Well, it's going to be an interesting weekend ahead. Like I said, definitely interested in getting down to Talladega and unloading the cars and seeing everybody back at the track. It's been a while, so definitely looking forward to it. Um, and it'll be a very interesting weekend. Got some new players on the track, so looking forward to seeing it all kick off on Saturday at 7 o'clock, right here on the ROCAR YouTube channel. But for now, that is going to do it from us. I don't think I had anything else to mention. Laner, any last minute mentions of anything?
No, not that I can think of.
Nope. All right. Well, we're gonna close it out here. Thanks for joining us. Again, the Money Stop is a podcast we'll be doing weekly, so be sure to check back in next week after Talladega. We'll be back here to deep dive into the race and really kind of get the season rolling again. You know, kind of what we did last season. So, really excited to get everything kicked off and join us here on this channel. We'll be posting further episodes here. So, join us here on this channel from here to the end of the season. We will see you all next week after the ROCAR 500. Have a great night. We will talk to you guys soon.
See you guys.